Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today, wherever you are in this great world. We're going to talk about XRP. And I got to start with this from Digital G. Now, if you're talking to someone about XRP, this is what you tell them right here. 1. XRP is the native cryptocurrency of the XRP ledger. 2. XRP is the world's third largest cryptocurrency by market cap. 3. XRP can be sent directly from any XRP ledger addressed to any other without needing a gateway or liquidity provider. This helps make XRP a convenient bridge currency. It's gonna emerge as the world's bridge currency. 4. XRP has a unique role in the fintech industry. Banks, payment providers, by helping to release capital in their Nostro Vostro accounts around the world using ODL, on-demand liquidity. 5. XRP is a deflationary currency because each time you make a transaction, a small portion of the XRP is destroyed. And 6. XRP is a sustainable and efficient digital asset in terms of energy consumption. People always explain XRP to people, but most of the time they always just say, listen, if you put money into XRP, you're going to get rich over the next couple of months, or you're going to get rich over the next couple of years. The world is going to use it to send money back and forth all around the world. But if you actually explain it in these terms, it's easier for someone to understand what XRP is and what it's built to do. You know, I always tell people, understand what you're holding when you hold this cryptocurrency. And this comes from Paul Barron. He talks about treasury companies being the next wave after similar ETH strategies. What have I been telling you? Treasury companies are coming for this cryptocurrency. Take a listen.
I realize that that was the case. Did you know that?
I didn't. I know that there's very high trading volumes in South Korea. And just to mention, South Korea as a nation is exceptionally good at adopting innovative technology. They're usually ahead. If you look at technologies, certainly that have came about in my lifetime, South Korea have always been early adopters. So it's no surprise really that they're kind of adopting XRP in the manner that they are. It's interesting that you mentioned the 500 million in regards to where you think Vivo Power can get. Is Trident Digital Tech Holdings not planning on a 500 million sort of purchase and strategy also?
Well, that's my point. Is you've got this bit of race occurring in the DATs right now, the treasury companies. My question is whether or not these will actually be the leaders. If you look at ETH, it's BMNR without a doubt. They've started to go well ahead of what SBET is doing, which is SharpLink Gaming. That's Joseph Lubin versus BMNR, which is Tom Lee. Then you have Vivo, which is kind of leading the space right now. Do you anticipate that we'll see kind of a new, we'll call it an XRP race to hold more treasury? Is that coming as we get more clarity in the regulatory frameworks?
Yeah, I believe so. I think if you look at...
And I agree with that. I think what has to happen first, though, is once regulations are in place, that's going to greenlight all these companies. It's going to greenlight all these institutions. They're going to be like, well, we got to get XRP on our balance sheet. And not to sell it when the price goes up. Now they're figuring out that they can earn yield off of that XRP to strengthen their business. But they could also utilize it when making cross-border transactions. It's like a win-win for these organizations and these companies. That's why I think we're going to see a wave of companies come in and buy up a substantial amount of XRP, which will lead to scarcity. This comes from Wrath of Conman. Two interesting facts. Ripple Payments user UniCredit just partnered with BNP Paribas for securities custody. BNP Paribas uses Ripple custody tech for its crypto custody. So both sides of the partnership are tied to Ripple, one in payments, the other in custody. We're going to see more of this as well, because Ripple partners and Ripple users, they're always building out and expanding as well. They're making their own partnerships at the same time. And at the same time, they're also opening up more and more rails for XRP to run on. Just in, the SEC launches crackdown on U.S. firms allegedly connected to Chinese pump and dump schemes, targeting professional services that enable cross-border securities fraud. They are going to crack down on all the pump and dumps. That's why memes are going to disappear very soon. Once regulations are in place, you're going to see the SEC crack down on every single pump and dump. And that's what these meme coins are. Most of them are just pump and dump. We've seen it all throughout last year. Remember all these celebrity coins that kept popping up and then they would end up being a rug pull? That's all going to come to an end very soon. People don't realize that yet. There's some people out there that think meme coins are going to be around forever. The wild, wild west is ending. This comes from Mr. Man, the risk mitigation framework. So you see, phase 1, late 2025, expansion into layer 2's custody and feedback integration. Phase 2, 2H 2025, on-chain digital payments, operation resilience, and payment rails. Phase 3, 2026, extends to native crypto assets, benchmark framework against real-world use cases. The framework is coordinated with regulatory standards such as MiCA, DORA, NIST, COSO to keep it aligned globally. What have I been telling you? You're not going to go from one country to another country and have different regulations. Regulations are going to be the same in every single country around the world. So if Tether can't make it through MiCA, they're not going to make it in the United States. Right now, the U.S. is using Tether to dump our debt onto Tether. And the bad part about that is Tether is so tied to the price of Bitcoin. So if Tether goes down, it's taking Bitcoin with it. But look at what they're looking at. AML and KYC. They're the two big ones, plus sanctions evasion. Everything is going to come down to anti-money laundering and know your customer. If an exchange isn't doing it, if a wallet isn't doing it, those exchanges and those wallets are going to be gone. They're going to fold up overnight. And a lot of people are going to end up losing a lot of their crypto. I cannot stress that enough. This comes from Axelar. A new yield-bearing XRP product is launching, powered by Axelar and the leading EU-regulated tokenization platform. If you are a large holder of XRP, complete the form below to express interest. And you see it right here. You could do this by visiting Axelar. But everybody is opening up ways for people to get yield from their XRP. That's like the new big thing all of a sudden. Where was this in 2022? I think we would have had it back then if we didn't have corrupt Gary at the SEC and a whole bunch of politicians in Washington that wanted to crush crypto. You know, during the bear market, we could have all been earning off of our XRP. And now this is the path forward from here. Earning off of your crypto allows you to keep your crypto without selling it. And what have I been telling you about DNA protocol? I'm telling you, they're using these places as testing grounds for this DNA protocol. Now it's in Ethiopia. And it almost has that WorldCoin vibe. Remember when they were scanning people's retinas? This goes down that same path. I was not a fan of that. Remember, people were getting $10 gift cards to get their retina scanned? I wonder what the people are getting to put their DNA on the XRP ledger. Usually I'm a fan of everything that comes to the XRP ledger, but I am not a fan of DNA protocol. This comes from Digital G. The very thing XRP solves is the very reason that prevents the true price of XRP being revealed. While the old financial system exists, liquidity. Imagine the chaos if retail cashed in XRP for fiat at $15,000 per token. We are very close now to the collapse of the old system. You know, once XRP goes live on all of these rails all around the world, I think the price of XRP is going to rise substantially, very fast. And people are going to regret hating on this cryptocurrency instead of buying it. But ODL is the game changer. That's what it really comes down to. Because we are at a time where there's a looming liquidity crisis, and it's a global liquidity crisis. And isn't it strange that we know it's a global liquidity crisis, and Ripple, what did they do while they were tied up with the SEC? They went global. They expanded out in every single country all around the world. That did not happen by accident. That happened on purpose. January 2025, World Economic Forum agenda reveals partnerships with Ripple and Hedera. I just wanted to touch on this for a minute because everybody always said, well, the World Economic Forum is an evil organization, and I totally agree with that. Why would you ever invest in XRP? It's not just XRP. It's HBAR. It's XLM. They all have ties to the World Economic Forum. Why? Because they have ties to the elites. And even though I'm not a fan of the World Economic Forum, I sure as hell am not going to pass up a life-changing opportunity by not investing in XRP or HBAR or XDC and so on. You got to capitalize on this while you can. This is what the elites are looking at as the future. You invest in what the elites see as the future because you know what? The elites are investing in this. So what are they going to do? They're going to make a lot of money, and if you don't invest in it, you lose out. That's what it comes down to. And that is why I continue to buy XRP, HBAR, and so on. And a lot of people are saying that Ripple is going to hand over XRP to the government. And they cite this video time and time again. Take a listen.
I tell them what a gratis vendor is.
Yeah.
Because I was not going to go into the government. I was doing transition.
What is a gratis vendor?
A gratis vendor is an approved vendor for the United States of America that gives product to the government, doesn't sell it.
Okay.
So therefore, I don't have to go through the whole process of becoming a proper vendor because you're giving it to us. And then if you give it to Article 2, which is the president's stuff, then the president can accept it, right? Because it's give.
Sorry, what's an example of this? Like just to make
I write some software.
You write some software.
I write some software for the Commerce Department to do a better job of XYZ. You just give it to me. And then I do QA on it, and I can take it. If you sell it to me for $1, we go into government hell.
Right, the whole rigmarole. Yeah.
Right? But if you give it to me, right? And then I set up,
It was strange that he said software. Why software? But I don't think Ripple is going to give XRP to the U.S. government. However, I could see Ripple possibly handing over RLUSD to the government so that it could become the U.S. digital dollar. That would make more sense to me. And maybe it is XRP. We really don't know. I still think some of that escrow is going to end up with the Fed and all the other central banks all around the world and the IMF World Bank, and so on. But I don't think that they're just going to hand it. Like, everybody thinks the whole entire escrow is going to go to the U.S. government. Ripple has big plans for that escrow. They use it strategically so that they could strengthen XRP and bring utility to it. I'm sure they want to make more acquisitions as well. It's too early to say what's going to happen here. Or maybe they hand over some sort of software, RippleNet software, to the U.S. government. Then they could have their own payment system. It could go a multitude of ways. And anybody that thinks that they're just going to hand over the XRP, it's still speculation. It would be speculation when I said that they could hand over RLUSD or even the payment system. It's too early to say. But I just wanted to give you my thoughts on that because I see a lot of people talking about this all of a sudden as well. But no matter how you look at this, at the end of the day, XRP holders are going to get rich no matter what happens from here. We are in a win-win situation because XRP can move the dollar in its current form. It could also move the digital dollar. It can move a gold-backed digital dollar. It can move tokenized gold. It doesn't matter. That's how we always end up winning in the end. And until it happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.